Good afternoon. Today is January 31st. I'm recording for February 1st and the probably following week. So the first, let's go ahead and take a look at S&P. S&P, I guess you've been probably hearing me for past few days, past few sessions. I've been waiting for this particular point in S&P, which is there right now. Like it did reach its first target ranges within 1506, 66 and 15.92. In fact, if you look at the high of this chart, I'll show you here. We'll just magnify this. See the high of this yesterday is at 150.94, and this target, if this cluster target was forming at 1509.92. So I guess it probably seems like that is a pretty good area for a smaller retracement. Seems like, although 10 points is no way it's any kind of a retracement. So that's what I guess. I'm going to wait for a couple of more days before actually see some type of a price action to take either new positions or actually do something away with my current positions. So the next, let's look at gold. So here is gold. The waiting for this yield to trigger is very critical, and I always waited, and I used to jump before, but nowadays I don't. I actually wait for it to actually only trade about that level in order for me to take the trigger. So that's when I will probably be looking at, and also I'll be taking the position with GLDs. So now let's look at QM. I know QM fell about 60 cents today. Yeah, I think it's still about the same price. So I guess my first targets in QM is 98.87 and 102.65, and that's where I will be looking for taking at least a partial profits in this, and then I'll see if I can continue further. But right now I'm in USO options. So the next one is let's just start looking at this stock called Deckers. Deckers, I am already in Deckers for the past few days, and the last 3-4 days it has been negative. And today I think at one point it was up about $1, but I guess it came back up to like at 33 cents right now. So I'm still expecting it to actually reach its first target zone, which is between I guess a 43 com, and the Broadcom actually has an interesting pattern. It has an ABC bullish pattern, and it did reach its first target zone, and now it's actually reversing it. One of the other thing which I'm looking at is it also has a kind of a head and shoulders inverse head and shoulders pattern. So the inverse head and shoulders pattern, the neckline is about this $35 range, and that's what I think it's probably hit that point, and then it actually reversed it, and today it fell about $1.42. I thought they had a pretty good earnings, but I guess the next earnings is not due until April 30th. So if it does, again we see any kind of a positive price action and trades above this 62 level kind of thing, and that's when we probably try to go back into it. Next one is the fossil. Here is the one. I don't have a position in fossil, but I think it's been in the last. I guess it's due in next 12 days. It's earnings, and then the first target range is between this 97 and 102, which is comfortably crossed it, and now the next target zones will be 117 and $128. Now let's look at the Coinstar. Coinstar in the last 2 days it had a negative action. As I said, in order for it to trade it, I guess you may be trading it as an ABC pattern, or it also has the inverse head and shoulder pattern, and this point being the shoulder here, and here is the head part, and here is the shoulder. So what we need to do is we actually need to wait for it to completely cross and trade over this neckline in order for you to actually take a trade based on the inverse head and shoulder pattern. On an ABC pattern, this trigger is already happened, which is like about 50.31 is the entry into it, and then the targets would be higher, like 56 and 58, but it did reach this neckline and it reversed it. So now we will wait back and see if it goes across above it before we take a position. Let's look at CRM. Yes, CRM has a both an ascending triangle, and also it has a ABC bullish pattern. The breakout from it was $164, and then it's still continuing to move up. I guess the earnings are on February 21st. But one of the thing what we'll be looking at it is we'll be taking the distance from the lowest of this ascending triangle pivot, and then we take the vertical distance up to the top of the trend line, and that distance, when we add it, I think it just comes up to this 192 and 206 level. So that's what I'll be looking for my targets in CRM. Yes, so when does CRM, this ascending triangle or ABCs, invalidated? Well, one of the thing what happens is if the price really comes back and trades below this top trend line, I would think that that may be the first clue that it's not just touching it, but if it really closes comfortably below the top trend line, then I would think that that may be the first sign of a failure. And then the second failure, the actual in an ascending triangle, the actual failure, complete failure, comes is when the price trades below the first, or actually last pivot, that is about C. And if the price really trades below, that will be completely failure. But not that ascending triangles and descending triangles don't fail. They do fail also, and I've seen it, and it happens both intraday markets and also in the end of day charts. So I think one of the things what I will be looking at is I'll be looking at first is if it is closes below the top trend line, and the second is if it's a midway between the C point and also the top trend line, and that's what I would think. And if I have a position, I would probably close that position at that point too. So now let's look at another stock. Uh, this is the one, Brocade. I've been watching it, and I do not have a position in Brocade, but I think it's been doing a pretty good price action. It's a pretty $5.75, only went up by 9 cents today. I guess what I'm looking for it is to show me some kind of a breakout, and so I know it's already comfortably trading above the EL, but I actually wanted to see a wider range bar, so that way I know that there is a momentum coming in, and it's comfortably trading about 200 minute moving average too. So what I will be looking for it is if it does show me that, then I think I would actually use the stock to trade it instead of using options, and then probably trade between up to the targets is between 656 and 694. And let's look at Qualcomm. And Qualcomm, I do have positions in Qualcomm, and today also, I guess today it went up. Yesterday they had a pretty solid earnings. Today its first target was about 67, and I think 64, about between 65 and 67. It already reached 67, so I'll be actually waiting for it. And at one point it was up. I think even at the open it was up about $4 and change. And I think the next targets would be about between 69 and 72. This may happen in sorry, actually let me look it up. Heather. Yes, between 127 162, that's 72, that's about 73 to 77, and that would be the target range of it. I guess today was a pretty solid action. Like I said, the markets continue their rally, then I think we do expect it to rise much higher. Let's look at Juniper. Juniper is now, it's heading towards its secondary targets. It has a pretty, what I call it, this is the perfect bullish pattern, and here it reached it's going to reach between 23 and 25 and half dollars, and that's in the second target zones. Let's look at this stock. This is Melinex, I guess. Um, this stock, I don't have a position, and I don't have even a desire to take these positions. But what I wanted to show you is the stocks which run in this parabolic patterns. Like look at it. The stock really went from in the probably mid of 2000. 11, trading just about like $24, and it rallied all the way to $120. And usually these type of stocks usually return to 60, at least 62% of its range. And this is what it's so 62% is 60, but it actually traded all the way to 47, which is about 76.4%. So let's just see if we can use a weekly chart to spot the ABC pattern here. So here is the one. So I still don't have any desire to trade this pattern, but I thought that I would show you is this is how the ABCs are formed, and this is how actually the parabolic arcs are being traded. So today it went up by like about, well, I think at one point it was up $3. So I guess if anybody is taking a trade, they could probably, but I don't. Let's look at Skyworks. This is actually, let's look at it from the, this is the daily chart here. Daily chart, I guess, I wasn't monitoring this chart, and I think it wasn't in my, it is in my list, but it wasn't in my radar to actually look at this stuff. But it actually rallied up 264, just this, I think they also had earnings, if I'm not wrong, it was yesterday. Yes, that's right, January 30th. Next one is Las Vegas Sands. Here is the one, Las Vegas Sands, and today I think they had earnings. I believe if it's maybe yesterday too. Las Vegas and then their target zone is between 53.87 and 58. That's where it's actually heading towards to right now. Is it probably will probably reach about this 58, and probably maybe it will probably see some type of retracement. Next, look at, I guess along with that we can also look at Win. Win has been in this pattern for a really long time. This is not like really great ABC to trade it, but I think I've been watching this for quite some time, and I think they also had earnings today. I think so. They also had a pretty good earnings in the after hours, and it was about 76 cents up. Let's look at Sprayer. This is something which I'm watching, and I know today it actually just rallied, and this is not the perfect ABC, but it's kind of, it is triggering about the EL, and I kind of kept this one and also Apollo. These are the educational stocks. This is also was giving it, but both of them I don't have positions at this point yet. Okay, now let's look at Ralph Lauren, RL. RL is still, it's moving, and I think it has got another few more days, I think another week or so before it comes out with earnings. But I think, the same thing, it reached its first targets, and the next level of targets is something like a much higher, but I guess it probably also based on this earnings. So let's just wait and see for that. And the last one I'm going to talk about is the Monster. There, Monster is in a, this is like, it is a perfect bullish ABC bullish pattern. So far there's no trigger yet. The trigger only comes about $51, and if it does come about the $51, and then the targets would be between 56 and 59.45 is the first level of targets which I'll be looking for. Anyway, thanks guys, and thanks for comments again and encouraging words. I will try to do tomorrow one more session, and for the I'll try to do some end of the month kind of a calls. All right, take care and have a good day.